Hi, Greg.
Yeah, and then send them the
He's on the phone.
hi guys, and send it to 4277.
You guys want
Yep,
water, there's
exactly.
tons in the fridge.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, my pleasure. Good luck. See ya.
Carla, I like your.
Hi guys.
Your water jug.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi Jenna.
Hi.
How are you, sweetie?
Good. How are you?
Good. All right, so
Who's here? Jenna.
Yeah, it's like.
Hi.
she can't
Hi,
see you.
Dee Dee.
Oh, she can't see me?
No, I'm gonna do a screen share, guys.
Look at your.
Yeah, because I want to see everybody.
So we got
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa and
Hi, honey.
Jenna. Hold on, let me do this. I don't know if I can do it.
I don't know.
So here's Carla. Say hi to Carla.
Hi.
We have Jenna as one of our
Hello.
agents, and then Lisa the lender. Josh is back there. I don't know if I can see him.
I know Lisa, I just.
Hey, Josh.
Josh and Don.
Hi,
and
Dawn.
Dee,
Hello, Dee Dee.
and then
Hi,
Tim.
guys.
I can't see. Oh,
Hi,
there-
Tim. Hi, Tim. I see the shadow of Tim.
Yeah, the shadow of Tim. He's got the glowing light behind him. All right, let me do it. I'm gonna do it.
See your arm.
I don't know.
Oh, Dee Dee wants to see your arm, Jenna.
Okay.
Oh,
Look at it.
Aw.
can't miss it.
Oh my God.
Oh,
You can walk.
What is that? I've never seen that. What is that, Jen? That purple thing?
It's keep it elevated.
Oh, I like this, yeah.
That's really.
So, but when I go to my inspection today, I'm gonna put it in a sling, so I don't look like
Oh
a
my goodness.
Barney.
Oh my goodness.
this is how dedicated Jenna is.
Sorry.
She can't drive, so she's gonna get an Uber to bring her around to showings.
I don't blame her.
How
That's
awesome is
great.
that?
That's what my wife.
You know what? She- She might get spoiled and want to do this all the
I know.
time now.
I know.
She's gonna have a driver.
That's awesome.
All right, let me do a screen share. So Dee, you can come over here because you can
I
run
thought
it.
you were saying.
No, I am. I'm just gonna go over here so you can run the computer. But guys, I'm Jenna and Lisa. I'm just gonna do a screen share so you guys can see what she's doing on the computer.
Okay.
Still here.
No, so.
I'm sorry, honey.
I don't know where.
All right, boom. So you guys can see that, right?
Found in your
Yeah.
head.
Good. All right.
I'm going back up to Port St. Lucie. I live there. Yeah, she's getting the baseboards in, she's getting stuff
Did you?
done.
Oh, sorry. So you're set up here, your screen share, so you can see Jenna and Lisa here. If you need to, you can just move it around, but you can still scroll here. You can do everything here. And then this up here, that'll kind of pop up, but if you need that for some reason, it'll.
Because I've never done Zoom, so be
All right, you
patient.
don't have to, no, you don't have to do anything. You're good.
Okay. I have my mask on. I don't know why. I felt vulnerable.
Dee Dee, I like your mask. So
You
I
like
know,
it?
I love it. Home sales. Sweet.
That's cute.
So, we all set, guys? So, okay, so today it's kind of just a Q&A because last week we had, we went over a few things, new forms. We do have 2 new addendums, blank addendums that we put on our app files because a lot of people are having problems locating them on app files. So we have one that's for lease and one for purchase, and it's right underneath our in-house form. So it's going to be really easy for you guys to find. And we also, on our in-house form, have, just to go over the topics last week real quick, for those of you that weren't here, we also have the home seller contract to closing checklist on our in-house forms, which is kind of cool. Just, if you don't do it on your app files,
You can hold it from the screen. See.
it looks like this on your app file. And if you want to like put it in your folder, just upload it to your app file, but there, I'm sure you can do it on your app file as a task, and then hook it to your calendar. But it's just, some people like it hard copy, The other thing was, we have a brand new affiliate list that we update every 6 months or so. That's also on the in-house forms. So we've got like 4 new forms up there for you guys. So just a couple topics today, kind of during the week, I, have questions from other agents. So I just jot them down real quick so we can go over them if anybody else has the same questions. But I know a lot of people are having some issues with leases. They are a lot of work. We've been going over with the newer agents. So if you ever get some spare time, just read through it. And if you don't understand it, just give us a call. So they always have to have a credit report, criminal background check, etc. So I think the first thing, you seasoned agents know this, but for newer agents, if you're working with a customer, the first thing I would do, like you get it from OpCity or Lead or anything, I would just absolutely give them the website to go on and get this credit check before you even meet them or take them anywhere to make sure. Says so much, saves you so much footwork and time sending listings.
And what is the,
So the two that we use are rentspree.com, rentspree.com, or mysmartmove.com. And it's a website that they go on. They pay, it has nothing to do with you, but they just send you the results.
There's a tab on your MLS that you can actually click on it, and you could send them the link directly, so they don't have to go do it, so they're in the right spot.
okay, MLS link?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that called? Is that through
$40.
RentSpree?
Yeah.
What is
use
it?
$40.
Yeah, I use
Yeah.
RentSpree, and it's on there. It's a little tablet. When you first, are you on Flex? Or are you on? Okay. So Flex, when you have to sign in,
Mhm.
it gives you a list of tabs, and you have to click Flex. Next column over, 2 down is RentSpree. Click that.
Rent spring.
Add the
okay.
address, and I can show you later.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
Add the
Perfect, yeah.
address, and then you could either text or email the tenants the
Nice
link,
and
and
easy,
it'll
yeah.
go directly to them.
Got it.
And then
okay.
it'll come directly back to you.
Okay.
so that's pretty, just get that out of the way first thing. It will save you so much time. And a lot of times that's for your tenant, but a lot of times if you contact the listing agent first and just say, what do you need? They may have a program, or if it's a property management company that you have to go through. So I wouldn't suggest, I'd find out that first. So I wouldn't suggest that they go spend the money when it might not be the credit report the HOA or what have you is looking for. So just find out first about the credit report.
Giddy on that too, one thing, like I'll do it, I run somebody's credit background, and then Greg has to do it. With
Right.
his company, because they failed at another place or missed out. If they rent Greg's place and they go through, I'll refund them my credit fee, the $30 after they move in. So it's kind of an incentive to keep them involved with you, say, hey, listen, Greg, I know you just paid that application fee and this application fee. If you get this place, since you ran it with me, I'll give you your $30 back
Mm,
when you move in.
mm,
That's a
If
great
they don't move in,
idea.
then it's no harm, no foul. They move in. It's great.
Yeah,
But
mhm.
they can keep it. So, if they
Right.
decide down the road they need it. So at least
But
they
I
have
keep-
it.
Yeah, I just keep them to keep them engaged. Because tenants are flaky.
Yeah, they
Oh,
are.
boy,
yeah.
Mhm.
They'll go
they
anyway.
sure are. But it really is a good idea just to keep them.
Yeah, keep
Um,
them engaged.
right.
yeah.
Really good idea.
So some of you have also asked about a buyer broker agreement, which is different than the commission agreement. So the buyer broker agreement is on the FAR forms. If you go on, it's actually, I think it's one of the top 10, but it's there. You'll see it on app files. And it just spells out,
Where is the form? I'm sorry, just, I'm looking at it, I'm trying to get used to it.
Should be in
on
there.
app files, Greg, on the FAR forms, it says,
Oh,
Yeah, so if you have you have to open up a file, so if you click that.
okay.
yeah, you have to open up a file to get
Okay, you gotta
to
have file.
Go
those.
to that
Yeah,
forms,
open on app files, like open up one of
and
your
then you
files and
click
you'll
in
see it's a
here,
buyer.
that's your search bar,
A
so
lot of
instead
people
trying
use
to
them for
jump around,
FSBOs.
Click in here, search,
Um,
right here.
What were you gonna use one for, Josh?
I
the
use,
other day?
I
Right there,
I
yeah.
used it a couple times in my career.
And then just start typing in like buyer,
I took a client from somebody. who
And
was
then
working
you got
with them. I
buyer,
said, "Well, I'm
broker,
not gonna work with you.
top
You're gonna
one.
be Exclusive.
Okay.
I mean,
What is it?
Okay.
and if you ever want to like,
Second time. I did
So
it,
if you
the
just
guy
type
was
in
an
down, if
asshole,
you-
and he
Right.
was just
if you
all
just
over
type
the
in
place,
buyer dog,
and he was trying to buy
Oh.
properties in the middle of us working.
like on a form,
Yeah,
you
And. his-
should see an
his son-in-law's
HSPB
like,
buyer broker agreement.
got it.
So you can also like see the magnifying glass.
Mm.
You can also just view it if you want.
So
to,
it's
Ah,
basically a
oh,
protection.
without having to like add
Open
it.
it,
Yeah,
okay.
A
exactly.
lot of buyers
So like
don't
when
wanna
you have a-
sign it,
when
because
you're
it basically locks
building
you.
out a
They
form,
don't like
Mhm.
you.
and if you click it, so if you hit close with it,
Even if they buy something.
you'll see it populated over here. So then you would do add.
Can you find it?
And it's gonna put it in your file.
Like for FISBO, say you're doing a,
But if
not
you're looking
FISBO,
for a form over here-
somebody comes to you and you have a feeling you want them exclusive, to buy from you. So instead of just taking them out and then all of a sudden they go to another agent, you've got a buyer broker agreement. You can put the date in 1 month, 2 months, a year, like that.
Should we do it every time?
I think you should do it every time you're working with someone, because if they don't sign it, that means they're gonna not be loyal. So I think it's a really good idea. They suggest that you use buyer broker. agreement.
Yeah, I mean, they're big now. I
Because
mean,
they are big now because there's so
they're
much
8 years.
disloyalty,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and they help out. Like if you ever run into an issue where say you're working with somebody and they decide, because buyers are flaky too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
say you're working with a buyer and they decide to go out and go look at
I
new
know.
construction, or they decide to go
Right.
just view an open house or something like that, not knowing, because they don't know.
Yeah.
And it's our job to educate them. And if they don't know that, hey, if I just go out to this open house and I'm interested in this open house, now it could create an issue between, the two offices and the two agents,
What
and
about
procure
new
and cause issue.
construction? Are we still involved? If that
Yeah,
takes
100%.
someone to- okay,
So
I'm
if
gonna
you
do
have a
that.
buyer, you
Yeah.
always want to make sure you make them aware, like, hey, guys, even if they're not interested in new construction, if you're ever interested in new construction, let me know, because that's the biggest issue we see as the brokers, is buyers are going out and they're working with an agent, and then all of a sudden they're driving around, they're like, oh, that's a cool, nice community. They go in, they register, they end up finding a house they love, and they don't understand that, hey, I'm working with an
doing that
agent.
tonight.
Yeah, so
Doing new
you
construction.
want to let them know, well, it's good you're going, you want to try to be there, but if you can't, always make a call into the new, the development, or have them say, hey, I am working with a realtor, I just decided to stop in while I was driving by or
Make
whatever.
sure, yeah.
Just make sure, because we've had a lot of issues where buyers have literally just gone in and they're like, hey, this is the house for me, they sign right then and there, and the development's like, guys, there's nothing we can do, like, they registered without you guys, and yeah.
Because buyers don't understand the commission.
Yeah, they don't
process, so
understand how it
It's not
works,
really their
so
fault.
it's not their,
just
yeah.
that they just impulsive, they go look. and
yeah, so you just
they're
want to make
out of
sure,
there.
aware, like, if your buyer's like, hey, I don't even want new construction, just make sure, hey, if you guys are ever interested in new construction, just let me know first, because we've seen it. I didn't think it would happen that much. It's happened
Cody
probably 5
remember,
times.
yeah.
Where we've had to call new construction offices and like
Beg.
go through them with them basically beg, like, hey, and it's, yeah.
Oh.
So it happens a lot. So just always make them aware.
What do I do if I went in, signed in with my sister, and now I'm no longer with my own company?
It's fine. You're still registered. Yeah, I mean, you're still
No,
the
they
registered
send the
agent.
thing,
What thing?
DA,
Oh,
they send it to the other broker, so you've got to email them and let them know you're with a new broker, for sure.
I called.
Oh,
and
you
I
mean
like-
if you already
Yeah, she
registered with the
registered,
new?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're gonna want to, like, if you're already registered with
I
that
mean,
company.
I'm going up to Port St. Lucie now, so I'm just gonna just give them like,
Yeah.
I would
Called her.
definitely, yeah.
I call the other agent.
Yep.
And she hasn't called me back. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm with a new company now.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
just make sure that they know, just so they, they're gonna start.
Mhm. It's, what's the one with the,
That's where I'm going tonight.
really, they're out here too.
Synergy?
Synergy,
Yep.
Synergy, up in Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, I got some, I
Yeah.
don't know who it is, but it's a friend of mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Synergy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cody's doing one right now too with
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah,
yeah, they're
so
a good
it's
builder.
always good to get that signed, and they may
so
say,
going on.
well, why do why do you do that? They want to know why, and
Right.
I would give them all the good reasons, like you guys know already, like, I'm gonna be loyal to you, I'm gonna work so hard for you, instead of just contacting you once a week or so, I'm gonna be on it. And you're gonna get the whole package from me, so it's really in their best interest to sign it. So the commission agreement that's the buyer broker. The commission agreement's totally different. That's for like a FISBO or someone on Zillow, and you might have a buyer and you want the owner to absolutely sign that agreement.
Has
Commission
anyone
agreement.
had luck with Zillow? Because it's been a nightmare.
I call
Like,
a lot and for sale by owners are a different breed.
Are you
Are you
on
tired?
Zillow?
Executed it for sale by owner yesterday.
No, like.
Did
if
you?
I
Oh,
wanted
yeah,
to
Jenna
just
did.
list My place, every time I put
She-
everything,
what?
it just kicks me out.
No, don't.
What?
You don't want to-
No, it's not. I mean, at first I wanted to just see what I could do and then,
Well, maybe it's their own property.
It
If
is
it's
my
their-
own
If it's their
property.
own property, I would do Zillow first too, honestly.
Yeah, but I was, yeah,
because you're a realtor, you want to show it yourself, you don't want to pay commission, I'd definitely do Zillow first for a couple weeks.
I know, but it's been a nightmare.
We can
Yeah.
call you back to confirm it.
They, no, I put in everything, my pictures, everything. As soon as I submit it, oh, something's broken, and there's like this little app where a face falls off of the app, and it's just a nightmare.
They have their own realtors, they probably want you to list it with
Yeah,
them,
they
that's
do.
why.
Zillow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also have their own realtor, so they want you to list with them, that's why they're making it difficult.
I'm
So,
just gonna go on and put it on MLS.
can you put on the commission agreement? So this is the buyer agreement up here. It's really easy, really simple, just very self-explanatory. You can have them e-sign it even before you even meet them. And then there is the commission agreement for FSBO, like a Zillow contact, anything like that. Somebody that doesn't want to sign a list agreement with you and then say, oh, I'm going to try to sell it myself, and you're on a listing appointment, this might be a good idea for someone like that, because it's a good way to say, look, for 2 or 3%, I'll find somebody good, qualified, do all the negotiations. And they may go with that because they may, for sale by owners, be paying 2 or 3% anyways. So I think if you're ever, the list appointment's not going well or such, and they're really stubborn, I would definitely pull this out.
Well, anything off market too.
Yeah.
We see it a lot with a lot of off market deals. You want to make sure you have a commission agreement. So like Carla, for you, if somebody comes from Zillow, say a realtor does find your property on Zillow, they're going to come and say, hey, are you paying commission to any agents? Yeah, I'm paying 2, 3, 4, or 5%, whatever. And they're gonna bring you in a commission agreement.
Okay,
So,
Yeah.
You'll see this as a potential seller as well.
okay.
So,
Yeah, so those are the 2 forms that people have been using those a lot in this market too. So, hi Mika. Pull up a chair, honey, or Mika's here, everyone.
No.
Jenna and
Lisa.
here, let's turn it around so she can see.
Mika.
Oh, wow. That is
Jenna,
nice.
Lisa.
All right, hi.
There we go. So, okay, so we just went over, Mika, real quickly, the leases, who to use. You do that a lot, so you know with the credit, who to rent free or iSmartMove, such. So we're just going over the buyer broker agreement and commission agreement. If you're working with a FSBO, you're going to want the commission agreement, buyer broker, if you're taking out a buyer. So all that, I'm sure. So the other topic I really wanted to discuss that was coming up a lot that people are really not clear on, I find, and I don't think it's ever been explained much to people, unless you're going through the situation, is the cancellation of a listing. So if your customer wants to cancel a listing, you would fill a form out like this, which is the RAPD form.
I'll bring it up.
Okay, Greg's gonna get it up, but it's called the listing change form. So most realtors think down here you put canceled.
And there's a section 2. Everybody here is RAPB, but if you are JTHS, there's a JTHS and
Right.
RAPB
Same
listing
thing,
change.
just
form.
says JTHS if you're JTHS, if not. So your customer calls, you have a 6-month listing, and they say, gee, I want to cancel it for whatever reason. So this is basically what every single realtor does to take it off MLS, right? To cancel it, you put in cancel. So what cancel means is they're not out of the list agreement with the broker. Okay, they're still with the list agreement. So if they sell it for sale by owner or with another realtor, they not only owe you, if they decide to FSBO it, until the termination plus the termination date that you put in, like 90 days. Okay, so they will not only owe you if they sell it themselves, which is amazing, or if they go with another realtor, even though it's canceled and put it on the MLS, they have to pay double commission.
Oh,
Right?
No, not if they said no. So if they sign, if you have a cancellation, that cancellation's valid until a new company, Oh, if it cancels, I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. I'm sorry.
So,
My mistake, my mistake. my
yeah,
mistake.
so, okay, so this is what it is. If you look at a modification to listing agreement, right? That is just to cancel it on the MLS, which is what every realtor does, but they don't understand what it really means. If you read the contract under the listing date, and it will say, I think it's on the second page, it actually says whether it's it says it's a
Conditional or-
conditional termination on the list agreement.
Okay.
So what that means, if you look this up and read your contract and read this, it will say, one, conditionally terminate the agreement. Owner seller will reimburse broker if you put in a cancellation, like say you put in 500, 2,000, whatever. We don't usually do that unless we do a tour, we spend a lot of money. It's up to you guys. So owner seller will be liable for full compensation in agreement if seller transfers or contracts to transfer, even in a contract before the termination date. They might not go to closing, but if they have a executed contract, doesn't close for 3 months after, it's still commission.
But how would you know that unless you're scouring MLS?
You would go on, you could check it, say, hey, how many canceled listings do you have? Maybe 1 or 2, and
Right.
I don't know anybody that even has one now. Just keep on it. Look in the
Okay.
tax return,
Got
see
it.
when the
Okay.
deed was registered,
Mhm.
and go back, and you do have a right to get that money. Just
Okay.
you get a lawyer and get the money. So, it's a legal contract. So on the contract, the listing contract, it is a conditional where owner seller will liable for full compensation if seller transfers contracts or contracts to lease or anything if you put in the lease. Okay, in the property during the time period from the date of conditional termination to termination date and the protection period.
So that's the 90 days.
Exactly.
Okay.
Some do 120, some do 30. We like to do 3 months.
Mhm.
So if you'll see on the contract on the second page, it is a conditional termination. And they still owe compensation because you can cancel it on the MLS. They don't want any more showings. They want to cancel it. They cannot cancel the list agreement unless you send them this modification listing agreement and you check the second box for them, which is broker and owner seller hereby agree to unconditionally terminate the agreement. Owner seller agrees to reimburse broker for all direct expenses occurred in the marketing, which is what you would put that amount in the cancellation box. Broker and owner seller mutually release each other from all obligations under the agreement and release each other from any and all claims and actions arising from or related to the agreement. So the only time, honestly, I would send this cancellation to someone is say they're sick, they decided not to move. I know they're having a really bad hardship. I know they're not going to list with somebody else or sell it themselves. I mean, you got to be really sure because they're liars. Let's admit it. A lot of people are out for themselves, So just be really sure if you're going to give them that one, that this form has to be completed for the compensation part of the listing. And so the reason I learned about it was because I didn't even know about it, honestly, till I had a customer cancel. I had a 6-month listing, just for an example, real quick. And after 3 months, it was a slow season and a high season area. And he just wanted me to do the slow season. I did 6 open houses for him. He was very demanding. And then after 3 months, he said, I want to cancel listing because now it's fall and he's just going to sell it himself and maybe thinking he can get people that I had in there for an open house. So I said, okay, I'll cancel. So I filled out one of these to cancel it on the MLS. So he had his attorney write me and say, oh, this is not unconditional. And I said, no, it's conditional. Read the list agreement. I'm not letting him out of the compensation part. I'm just letting him, he wanted to cancel it, it's canceled.
Did you let him know when he was saying that he wanted to cancel it?
No,
or just
because
his-
I
Oh,
don't,
sorry.
only because if, I wanted the listing, I'll be honest with you. But the second thing is, look, we're not attorneys, we're not, it's kind of like they need to read, they're grown adults and they need to read a legal document. And if they don't read their legal document, I feel it's their fault. I know you're probably thinking, oh my, I should look, because you have a
Oh,
good
no, no,
heart,
no.
you're nice.
Isn't
Isn't she, Jenna? Jenna.
I mean, the rest of us aren't, or what?
I just know her, and Don probably would too. Josh would not, and I would not. I am too, but
Yeah, you can't read the
See,
contract.
you can't read
You
the
can't sit
contract.
them down and
I'm
say,
on my
read
way
the
to-
contract.
to getting there.
Yeah.
Me too. And that's a key, like I always will say, because there's so much e-sign now, you don't sit and meet face to face. I will always write, here's a contract, but I would love to go over it with you so you understand everything. So give me a call when you get it. And they don't, they just initial it. So that's when I give them the chance and I say, I would love to go over this, because I really do like to explain it to people, because they don't know what it means. They're not an attorney. So, but if they don't, and they just hurry through it, you know. So anyway, so his attorney called and she's like, oh, well, can you sign the, you know, the conditional one? And I said, no, I can't, because I put a lot of time and effort into it. And she goes, well, he has a FSBO. Can he do that? And I said, well, you're an attorney, you ought to know that he cannot do that, or he'll still be responsible for the broker commission. So he had to wait another 3 months to put it on the market, plus the 90-day protection period
So he had to pay you the double?
if he sold it. So
If he sold
he
it.
didn't, he wanted to do the
couldn't sell
FSBO,
it
right?
for-
Right.
Yeah.
6 months?
At
For 6
busy
months.
time, come like November, whatever, here, he couldn't, he wanted to put it, he put it on Zillow.
Oh.
And then
But
he,
but
I
the
think,
thing is this, if he would have, he should have at least said, hey, all right, I have somebody. Would you have negotiated like a, okay, like a reduced commission or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that? But to try to
Right.
just not give you
Well,
anything is,
if,
wow.
you know, I would have tried to get the full thing, because a contract is a contract.
Mhm.
So, but if he said, look, you know, the only way I can sell this place is, you know, if I either that or I can't sell it, if you help me with it, I might have, you know, especially if I had the buyer too.
Mhm.
But I don't, you know, he was getting his attorney on me and things, and so that really bothered me. When
Mm.
people do legal acts, try to get, I'm like, you know, so anyways, that didn't work out for him, because then he had a 90-day protection period after that. So the list agreement's extremely legal.
Mhm.
And once it's executed, there is no way out unless you give them the unconditional. So some people do it, you know, but it just depends on the situation.
Right.
But always go through Greg first, because he wants to know, you know, why you're doing that,
Yeah.
why you're letting, because it's business is business. If they sign something, they've got to go through with it.
I mean, my recent situation where I had to take the listing off for temporary off market.
Right.
I mean,
So with your situation, Mika, you did take it off the market. It's temporary, because
Right.
so that's not like a cancellation. But
Mhm.
if you had filled this out and put cancellation, then, and it showed up cancellation, if he sold it, he would still have to pay him compensation. Pay home.
Okay, in the situation where it's temporarily off the market, does the same thing apply?
Yeah,
Like
because
if
it's,
they decide to sell it?
Yeah.
They're still under agreement. with
List
you. So
agreement.
Throughout that contract, they're under agreement with Greg. So with that being said, they can't get out unless Greg releases them.
from this
It's
second part,
conditional.
right, conditional.
And
Or
it has to be
unconditional.
mutually agreed upon. They can't just say, hey, I don't want to be working with you anymore, so I want out. Greg could say, well, that's great. I'll take it off the market for you, but you're still under
Right.
contract with me for the next 8 months.
Mhm.
So.
Plus the
I don't think
termination
move
pay
on our end,
protection
but you hold
period.
Them up for 8 months because we're trying to force them in for them to
Right.
perform like they should.
Mhm.
Otherwise, everybody
it's-
would be canceling left and right if they wanted to.
Yeah,
Zillow,
yeah.
Zillow.
You do an open house, you get 20 people in.
Right.
You see, oh, wow, my house is worth it. Cancel Greg.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And in 30 days, get a
Mhm.
buyer in that Greg did the work for.
You
and
say,
then not have to
they
pay
save
anybody.
20 grand, you know, they
Yeah.
think.
And
So
And then
that's why
how-
it protects us.
That's why it
Mhm.
protects.
And like Dee said earlier, it's all the good thing about it too is with us being boutique, it's all per case. So if there's a
Mhm.
situation where like somebody's sick or I mean, I've even had situations where I wanted to fire the seller or have fired the
Right.
seller and was like, you know what, go ahead, do your own thing. I don't care, just stay away from me.
Mhm.
And you just unconditionally agree, to terminate it. You would think, no, I'll conditionally because they're fired, but now I don't have to deal, but it's like, then there's certain circumstances where it'll be like, yeah, go ahead, just unconditionally, no problem.
Let them go.
Family,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, there's certain circumstances, but
But
yeah, more often than not.
so I really wanted people to understand the difference between what canceling really means, you know? And that I don't know many people that even know that there's a modification for listing agreement out there and with the different conditions that are outlined in the contract. Now, the unconditional wording is not even in the list agreement, just the conditional. So you wouldn't even know to look for one of these, you know? So it's really important because you could get in a lot of trouble with people or, you know, a hassle with people if you say, okay, I'll cancel it. And then all of a sudden, you know, they've listed with someone else or they've sold it by themselves and then they owe compensation. And you're like, oh, sorry, but it doesn't really have anything to do with you guys because it's Greg, the broker, that is going to go after him for the money, not you. So there's nothing you can do about it, you know, and you're representing them. You feel like you can, but you can't because it's a legal contract. So that one, just go through Greg, anytime you want to do anything like that. Yeah, it's very important with the cancellation. Also, the only other thing before we do any Q&A, I think somebody, maybe Jenna, was looking for the seller's estimated closing costs, which we do have online. It's really easy when you're at a listing appointment or you want to send it to someone, where it's all, you know, auto-generated. You put in the price of the sale and, you
Where
know,
is it online?
the commission. So Trident had one app, but it's like $10 or $20 a year. But I think our preferred title company produces title has Qualia. Qualia, Qualia. It's an app. Yeah, it's an app. And if you go to, and it's free, by the way. So, and there are, get my cupcake ready. You're so funny. I got a text message here from Mika. She's sitting across from me. Get my cupcake ready.
No, when I was driving
know.
down to the line, I'm like, get my cupcake ready. Qualia Connect.
It looks like this right
Qualia.
here. It's like a black and white and
Okay.
green triangle,
Got it.
sort of. And let's see, it looks like, so I'm pretty sure, and it's really useful. It looks like this, guys. If you go to your app store, and it's kind of cool, just sign up with your password. And it's really cool. You can email it to your customer. Like you could be doing, you know, a list agreement or a sale online. You can do it for buyer or seller too. So if you do it online, just send it right to them, you know, and you can change. When I go on a list agreement, I always give the seller estimated closing costs. A lot of realtors don't, but I just don't like surprises, you know, so, and I tell them it's just an estimate. It's not anything, you know, but I try to get as close as I can, but I will give them 3 scenarios, you know, 300, 353, whatever. And that way, when they get an offer, if they say, oh, what were the closing costs on this one? I want to see if I can take this offer. They can go back and see I'll give them 3 quotes and they'll kind of get an estimate of how much it's going to cost them. So, you know, that would make a big difference if you don't give them to your customers and the seller says it's gone through title and your closing date's coming up and it's like, wow, I really owe 40,000. I can't take that. You know, I can't afford that. And I can't bring money to close. So they put you in a spot if you don't, you know, acknowledge that first thing and disclose that. So it's a good idea to use the program to get your sellers closing costs.
Yeah, it's a good program too, because I have a seller right now that's in divorce situation and their money is really tight because they just purchased the property like 6 months ago. So I've been using the app like every time we've had an offer going back and forth, you can, and it does all the prorations for you and everything like that and pay off. So you can see to the T. Yeah, it's really, and every time I've used it, it's within like dollars of being accurate. Yeah, it's not like thousands of dollars, it's within dollars.
Yeah.
But it's a great tool to be like, all right, will this offer work for my client? Hey, let me check. You don't have to call a title company and say, hey, do a seller net sheet and wait for them to get back by a computer and all that. So it's a really cool app to do.
Yeah. even before, like if you get a lead or something and it's a listing and the seller says, well, I've never done this before, I'm not, so how much is, I've only bought a house once, how much are the closing costs? You could just really quickly let them know. Then that way they know if they're even in the ballpark of being able to sell, which is good. So that's a really good app. The only other thing I really wanted to go over with you guys is when you're on the MLS and you put broker advertise, yes or no broker advertise. So I just want to let you know of a little situation we had the other day. One of our agents who's no longer with us is took the ad pictures, which you can do broker advertise if it says any broker advertise. You do have to ask permission for their pictures. Okay, so even on a postcard, if you do a postcard and it says any advertising broker, you still have to ask permission for their pictures because that's like personal property. So what happened was, just really quickly, that she took the pictures and she put on Jupiter Farms Classified on the Facebook page. So she doesn't live there. The agent that she took the pictures and the information for, and she put on Jupiter Farms Classified, actually lives in the farm. So you'd think she'd want that ad under her name, if anything, which is her fault. She should have probably have done her social media marketing and done it herself. But this other agent who left didn't call her. She took the pictures, the wording, everything, and it says contact seller with her name on it. So she's acting as not only the agent, but the seller. And it says Jupiter Farms Classified. She's put it on Jupiter Locals, every single Facebook page you can imagine. So here, number one, because you put any other broker advertise, yes, it's allowed. She's out there marketing your property when you should be actually, or she should be. But if she can't, she's busy. She's out there marketing your property as seller agent. Now that bothers me because it's really, who does contact you to buy a property? I know it's happened to Josh a lot, but from Facebook, it's really, the chances are slim. It might be your friend or someone that says nice listing, whatever.
Right.
So I honestly, just my own opinion, I put no to everything. And I'll tell you why. A lot of realtors think it's cool. It's another avenue that maybe they'll bring a buyer, maybe she'll bring a buyer. But honestly, the chances are kind of slim that they're good. You know why? Because if they have a buyer, they're going to go on MLS and they're going to look at everything available. They're not going to look at your stupid Facebook posts and say, gee, Mika has something, I'm going to take my buyer. No, everybody's informed. They're going to go on MLS, find out themselves. So what you're really doing in essence is allowing this person to steal from you, I think, because it's letting them, because they didn't get the listing, use all your work, your words. Her words were there from the write-up in the MLS. Her pictures were there, and it looks like she has a house available in Jupiter Farms. So it's her name getting out there, So even if the agent that works here that has a listing there that lives there didn't put it on social media, the classified sites for that neighborhood, still, if it wasn't there, people wouldn't be seeing her name and marketing. I think it's a bad move. I put no on everything because the only good it does is it gives the other agent a chance to use your listings, and then people think
That's
it's theirs, Just my personal opinion.
I put no on everything. It ruins your brand.
Ruins your brand.
Like, I'm trying
True.
to build me. I don't give a shit what the next person's doing. So what if they're gonna take my stuff and then put it out on social media, which I'm also doing? There's a real conflict there.
Right.
We have 25 mutual friends and they see it from
Right.
you,
Yeah.
but then they see it in a different light from me.
Right.
It's like, what the hell is going on?
And she's friends with everybody in here. So she's taking
Yeah.
listings and not asking photos, the write-up, like it looks like hers, and putting that she's contacted the seller.
With sales, it's not as lucrative for the other person to do it as it would be with a rental. But when you get a rental out there and you got a rental in 20 different places and it's all over the place, and Edie does it, Greg does it, you do it, and I do it. And it's like, well, who do they contact? Where do they go?
Exactly.
It's confusing. It's clusterfuck. It doesn't do you any good. You
And
can just do the same thing your own and not allow
exactly,
Edie
don't
and
allow,
25
just make it your brand, your property, everything is yours, because it honestly does no good at all to let somebody advertise. I
It's
know,
actually stupid of me.
Honestly, because
Yeah.
they're realtors and the realtors are going to go on MLS and find these properties for people. So why let them use your listing? I don't know. I think it's crazy. I
100% agreement. I've never done it, never.
never
will.
done it. I don't like to do it either, not being selfish, but it's just not good business. It's not good business. Now, this person looks like she has this beautiful listing.